I think when you look through your time there, there's probably two players ability-wise that stand out. And when you think that you signed Paul Gascoigne and Brian Laudrup for a combined fee of £7 million, which is £5 million less than Dick Advocat paid for Torrey Andre Flo, that was fairly decent business. I mean, those two guys, really different characters. Signing Gascoigne has to have been an adventure, I would have thought. What was that like, going to the villa in Rome and sealing the deal?
I met him on holiday. I think I've said, I don't know, for the boys that will be here, maybe I've said this before because he keeps asking me back. As I say, I'm not that good, but I'm cheap. I've already said it before, but I decided to do so. I said to Archie, we'll make an attempt to get him. I met him on holiday the year before, and I decided, right, I'll just doorstep him. So we asked Lazio permission to go and speak to him, and they said okay. And up I went, and they gave me his address, and I got a taxi. And I just rang the bell, and he stayed in this place right out in the country. And the next thing I just hear one of these, an engine like a quad bike, you know. I said, what's that? And it stops outside. So the gates are still closed, and I can't work out how he's no, or somebody's no opening the gates. The next minute a voice comes, says, who is it? I said, it's Walter Smith. And he went, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here to see you. So all of a sudden the gates open and there he's sitting on this quad bike. He says, what is it you're on? I said, I'm here to see if you come and play for Rangers. He says, all right. That's absolutely true. That's what he says. He says, right, get on a bike. And he took me back down to the house or the top. My usual Gascoigne, the road's that way. He's doing, and he was there, and that was him. To be fair, yeah, that's what he said. He never spoke about a thing. He said, I'm going away on holiday. The day it was towards the end of the playing season, although he'd been injured for most of the time. He said, I'm going away on holiday today. I'll need to leave you with Jimmy and one of his other mad pals. He says, but you can stay the night and you can go tomorrow. And I said, but, you know, Cyprus, he says, I've told you what. And that was it. I was back and the chairman says to me, how'd you get on? I says, he'll come to us. Right, he says, well, what are we doing? I said, I don't know. He says, I mean, that was it. So the chairman got in touch with Lazio, and obviously they had their haggling over the fee and they had everything. But he never had any bother. He didn't want to go anywhere else. He turned them all down. And his agents, he said in front of his agent, that's where I'm going. And go to play. And that's, for some reason, he must have quite liked the thought, I come out to play. And that's what he did. So it was great for us.
Managerially, but I mean, I think most people would agree. You probably coached him in 18 of the best months of his career. I mean, when you look at the hat-trick game against Aberdeen, the 8 in a row, football-wise, he probably has played some of his best football at Rangers. Would you agree with that?
I don't think any of us can say that we've managed them, if you know what I mean. I don't think anybody could claim to do that. I think he spells his career that I would say he would probably equal with that. I mean, you know, his time at Tottenham and at different times like that, he's had really good spells in his career. He never lasted any length of time at any club, and for us, he was 2 and a bit years maybe. And then you could see that he was taking a dip. He'll lose a level of interest, and but that was him. That was just the way it was, you know. And he can't. As I say, it was a difficult one to handle, and it was an easy one to handle. You know, and without that sounding contradictory, he was that. It was worth it, you know, when he was hitting his good spells. But his games, the game against Aberdeen's one that you know, when everybody says I won a league for you that day, and it was great, and it was, but for half that game he was fucking sleeping. And that was him. He hadn't a level of concentration in a game, and all of a sudden if it came to him, and he woke up, he was fantastic. He had great ability, you know, great ability, and but he wasn't interested in football, in the sense that, you know, other players are interested, myself, others would take an interest in how the game was played. Gascoigne wasn't interested in that. He wasn't interested in tactics or anything, but he just had to put him in a team where he thought he played, which is right midfield. That was me, and that was it. And he always had an element of doubt in his head that he wasn't going to be playing, and you could see that he was always tempted, because Archie used to say to him, "He'll not play you today." He'd not been he'd sit like this, and he'd look, and then he would say Gascoigne, and as soon as you mentioned Gascoigne in the team, that was it. He used to move all the time, and when I was doing a team talk at Ibrox, there's a big dressing room, and you'd be maybe making a point to somebody or there, you could see somebody moving. You know, like, that's fucking Gascoigne. I used to annoy me, you know, like, I used to have to like say to me, "You fucking move again." You know, like, one day his trousers done. Like, he just wasn't interested in tactical play. Give me the ball. And that was it. And that's all you had to do as a manager, just give him the ball. And away he went. And he made a big difference to us. Before that, we had a really good team. I tried to explain to some of the boys when I was at Lard that sometimes when you're a manager, boys that are great players are sometimes difficult to fit into your team. The boys that have got great ability, they're difficult to fit in. And while we lost a wee bit of solidity in terms of our team for my first 3 years, they brought an edge to the team that helped us. Both Loudrup and Gascoigne brought an edge to the team, an level of ability to the team that was probably greater. But I'm not so sure that we were as solid as we were with the first 3 years or so. But they were fantastic players to be involved with.
Loudrup was a different type of character. I mean, what attracted you to that signing at first? Because he was in some ways damaged goods, wasn't he? He hadn't done it.
No, it was Archie. Archie had gone. We used to go and watch international games, and Archie did the Scandinavian teams. And one day the chairman phoned me and said to me, "There's an agent being in touch with us about a boy called Loudrup." So I said to Archie, "What way is he?" He says, "If you can get him, take him, he's brilliant." And I thought, brilliant. Archie, anybody knows Archie Knox, nobody's brilliant. Everybody's shite. That's Archie, right? That's the starting position, right? And you've got a lot to prove to get up that ladder with him. And so I says, brilliant. So naturally I said, "Oh, all right." When we went away, he was on loan to AC Milan, which he had signed for Fiorentina. He was on loan to AC Milan, and we managed to get him because of the fact that Fiorentina were in a bit of financial chaos, and we got him. And all he wanted to be was happy with the environment he was in. So he was great to us, must say, brilliant.
If you look at your legacy the first time